and then all of a sudden I just see teeth come into my screen like behind me, and then I'm dead.
The effects are, in my opinion, still better than the newest one.
I trust Ludwig Göransson. I'm sure he's going to do the best with the constraints he has, but I'm worried.
All right, welcome back, guys. How's everything been in May, the month of May? I believe April was our last recording. How's everyone been?
Doing well. I can't believe we're at the end of May already.
I know, right?
Happy Memorial Day weekend. This will probably be out afterward, but just in case Robert gets his act together and releases it sooner.
It's your editor, we need to give him a kick in the butt. So.
May has been, I can't believe it's already almost over either. It's kind of felt both very long and very short.
What have you guys watched any movies lately? We'll kick into the soundtracks in a bit, but I'm just curious if you guys have watched any movie shows, played any video games lately.
I have. It's been a while since I'd watched a whole lot, honestly. But I did rewatch the second to last Mission Impossible and then watch the final one, the last one, for the first time.
What were your thoughts?
Oh, nice.
I did hear through the grapevine that you had feelings about it, Steven, stronger feelings.
I can break out into my rant if you want.
No, I'm good. I will just say that I've also heard your rant through the grapevine, your sentiments. But
I was going to say, this channel likes Steven's rants, though. We probably should drop one at some point.
Yeah. Well,
let me just ask you this. How did you like the last movie as a conclusion? Because I'm guessing you probably liked the second to last, because that one was good, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I did enjoy that one, yeah.
And how did you feel?
The last one?
Yeah.
I thought it wrapped up really nicely. There were some ways that they went about the telling the story that was a little bit jarring for me.
Yeah.
And then there was some things I was like, just annoyed with, but that's more so general annoyance with Ethan Hunt's character overall, but I think that's just a personal preference.
Gotcha.
But again,
I strongly disagree on the strong wrap up.
I do too, but I'm trying to be respectful here.
So I will say
we need some conflict.
Oh, I can give you conflict.
Sorry.
Yeah. What my issues with it, aside from aforementioned, okay, I'll just say it. It was just weird when he wakes up. Okay, if you haven't seen the movie, spoilers ahead.
It's been a while.
Yeah, skip ahead.
Or you can take Steven and say it's been out for over a year. If you haven't watched it yet,
I don't care.
Sucks for you.
So when he's like coming back from like the ice, or like underwater, like almost frozen.
Oh goodness!
He wakes up and the freaking girl's in the pod, who he's like known for how long? I'm like, it's so weird. His every time there's like a female character, he's like all flirty with them. Even the most like random like characters like bit roles. It's so weird. I find it so weird.
What Rebecca Ferguson's character?
Yeah, but like even like in the. He's got like this weird like flirty dynamic with every single woman he interacts with. It's really bizarre.
Yes.
Also,
like for instance, even in the sub, like
this is like a 65-year-old man too. By the way, if you want to make it clear.
Doing his best to not look 65, but he is Ethan Hunt. So
aside from that, I really enjoyed the finale. It was a lot of fun. There was some things about the way, Steven, you have feelings about this, I can tell. It's written all over your face. There were things about the way they told parts of the story that were a little bit confusing to me. The way they were jumping back and forth between conversations was a little bit, I had to think and be like, wait, hold on. So yeah, those are my issues with it.
So Steven loved it.
I could do I'll try to keep this quick, but I hated the roundtable discussions. Every single time they had a new plan, they had to explain the plan to each other, and they all know what the plan is. So it'll be like Simon Pegg will say a sentence, and then Ethan Hunt will continue it, then Rebecca Ferguson will continue it, and then Luther finishes the point. And that happened like 5 different times in that movie. Secondly,
which wasn't normal for the series.
Yeah, that's what I was saying was so confusing to me.
Yeah, and
there was a ton of exposition in the dialogue.
Mm-hmm. I imagine there was a lot of reshoots with this one, but the other thing is, they kept they would bring back obscure characters from like the first movie, expect you to recognize them, and then it was they would like zoom in on the face and it'd be like a Marvel moment. I was like, am I supposed to clap? Is this guy? And then they did it with a couple characters, and then they do it with
the Langley guy.
the
I had
random
no idea who he
security
was.
guard. Yeah, it comes back like he's Nick Fury, and it's like this big epic moment. And then they did it on a couple other characters that weren't anyone from the other one. So I'm like, am I supposed to recognize these like guys? So that annoyed me. And then I just feel like the whole wrap up was very anticlimactic. I still don't know what the guy's deal was, and like I can't remember Gabriel. They like built him up to be this big figure from Ethan Hunt's past, and then it was just kind of like, oh yeah, he killed somebody. Like
he
from
killed his mother, didn't he?
I still don't know if it was his mother or his girlfriend. I don't know.
Oh,
and then
Michael,
the
do
way
you remember since you
the
just
way he
watched
died
it?
was so goofy. Anyway.
Wait, how did he die again?
It was like they played it for laughs. He like hits. I don't know if he hits his crotch or like hits his head on the end of the plane when he tries to parachute. It is like I was like,
oh, that's right,
like
that's
laughing.
Right, yeah.
Anyway,
I did enjoy the plane chase. That was a lot of fun. I thought that was cool.
That was cool. However, Ethan Hunt should have died. It should not have been such a pretty ending. Like, send him off.
I thought that's what was going to happen. I was pretty certain.
If you send him off into the cloud in that moment and we don't know what happened and he's just gone, it's like Batman +1, where it's just he's a legend, right? Ethan Hunt's a legend. He saved the world multiple times. He's out there somewhere, maybe not. Maybe he died, maybe he didn't. He's gone. I don't want to know. Why'd you freaking tell me that he made it back?
Yeah.
And then also, by the way, we're not just going to step on this AI and crush it. We're going to like carry it around so that we can make another movie with more money and make more money. Like, you've got it contained. The AI is contained in this little tiny device. It's not the ring. You don't have to go to Mount Doom. Take a hammer to the device and it's gone forever. And they don't do it. They're like, walk off. Mission Impossible 9 coming out next summer.
I don't want to get stuck on this for too long, but there is another thing that cracked me up is when they're like, oh my god, it's nuking all the cities. We need to nuke one of our own cities to show that we care, and like we're not just nuking these other countries for the hell of it. We need to like sacrifice
Is that
New
a
York
thing?
City. Yes, they're like, we're gonna have to nuke one of our own cities so it doesn't look like we're just like nuking it. I'm like, huh? Like, so anyway, I don't know if there was extensive reshoots on that or what, but I was confused with a lot of the choices.
One thing that was, I mean, I had a good time at least. You know, I enjoyed it. I had a good time aside from, you know, the issues or
it had its moments.
I will say
it was such a letdown from 7.
Mm-hmm. I will say that it was really. It felt like Nick Offerman's face was naked.
Oh, did he not have a mustache?
Yeah,
no, he didn't.
No stash.
I will say, amazing. Michael, I watched them like a year and a half apart, however long it took for them to come out in theaters. So I to be fair, haven't watched them back to back. So I don't know if that makes the experience a bit better. I think
it was probably, because I did literally rewatch the other one, didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, not to sound too negative, like I'm a huge fan of the series as a whole. I think, 3 is one of the best movies I've ever seen, period. Maybe the best action film I've ever seen. It's up there. They're all phenomenal, and I think
is that the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Yeah, that was like the J.J. Abrams one. It was the first serious one, and the first one's great too. It's just the 8 was such a letdown from the rest. But we digress.
All right.
Well, I've also seen. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go on.
I've also rewatched a couple movies, a couple favorites of mine. Also, a couple favorite soundtracks of mine. I recently rewatched Arrival and also recently rewatched Signs.
Into aliens with the Congress releasing the data on them, which I have not read whatsoever.
Don't
digress, but I did same. I did, of course, revisit both soundtracks, and both soundtracks are fantastic. I think like James Newton Howard and Shyamalan, their collaboration is just classic. It's some great great scores from
I still
Truly
think The
is.
Village is up there. It's just a gorgeous score for
Oh my
Yes.
for a
gosh,
movie
some
that's a
best
thriller.
violin music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Still
Absolutely.
stands out
The
as,
Gravel
like, the best
Road.
violin music I've ever heard. Yeah, classic. So good.
Nice. Robert, did you watch any
Yep.
new movies? Any revisits? Anything lately?
No movies. I know there's been a few that I have not gotten out to the theater to see. I hear Sheep Detectives is great. So I do want to go that. I have to say I did watch The Devil Wears Prada, the first one, for the first time at the beginning of this month. I was quite impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Really well written, well acted. So yeah, I'm sure we'll go see the second one at some point, and that's coming up later. We started A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Nice.
Which has been pretty. We're halfway through, I think. It's 6
Okay.
episodes, right? We're 3
Yeah.
in. It's been good. It's taken a little bit to warm up, so I'm still waiting for the full hit of like why everyone is so loves it so much. But
I
I'm
think
sure
you're
we'll get
probably
there.
coming up to that episode. It's either 4 or 5. I can't remember which.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many are there
Nice.
total?
6.
There's only 6.
Okay.
It's not
Got it.
long,
Got
but I'm enjoying it. So yeah, and then Paula and I finished playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33 as well.
Nice.
Which is why I am going to be revisiting the soundtrack. I talked about it briefly without having played the game at all in our favorite scores of 2025 video, which is here or somewhere. And now I'm enlightened, so I want to enlighten y'all.
Nice. Well,
Well,
I'm excited to hear what you have to bring with that one.
Thank you. Steven, how about you?
I watched a couple movies in theaters. I watched the Michael Jackson movie, which is a fun movie. Especially if you like his music, you'll probably enjoy the movie. There's a lot of recreations of the dance sequences and the music videos. It's fun. And then I watched The Devil Wears Prada 2. So going to be talking about it. One of those tracks today from the soundtrack. And then,
Awesome.
But hot take, is it better than the first one?
No, I cannot say it's better than the first one, but it is, I will say, a solid legacy sequel. I feel like a lot of the legacy sequels end up kind of crapping on the original in some way. And this one felt very much like a continuation of the same style and vibe as the first one. So
when you say legacy sequel for somebody like me, what do you mean?
Okay, so I would consider the new Star Wars sequels kind of legacy sequels because they're bringing back the older characters. It's like I would consider a sequel many, many years later. In the Indiana Jones movies, even Blade Runner 2049, which I know is a good one, but anything where they're like doing a sequel many years later, I would consider a legacy sequel.
Got it.
I may be a little bit off, but yeah.
Jurassic Park 5.
Jurassic World, yeah, I would say so.
Or Jurassic World 5. Well, the one where they actually brought back the characters.
I did watch that recently, by the way. I actually watched the last 2 Jurassic Worlds recently for the first time.
Nice.
I'm not gonna lie, I did really enjoy a lot of the nods they had in the one with the original cast too. Like even with what's her name?
Laura Dern.
Yeah, her character
Ellie.
There's one moment where she's like, Ellie, when she's like looking at the field or whatever, and there are all the locusts. She stands up, like gets up on the truck to look, and she takes off her glasses. Like, oh, she totally is like doing a little nod at Alan Grant getting out of taking off his glasses when they first see the big old
Good catch.
dinosaur.
Cool.
It was like so like every nod like that was just the right amount of subtle. I loved it.
That's good. I hate when they overdo it and it's like very obvious on the nose. I actually rewatched
this.
Oh, go ahead.
The scene where she comes to Alan Grant's dig when he comes into his tent and finds her there is very reminiscent of the scene where he comes to his trailer and Hammond is there. Just the way the scene plays out felt very much like a nod to that. Again, they were perfect amount of subtle.
Yeah, I rewatched the Jurassic Park recently, and I was like,
nice.
It's just so good.
So good.
Still
one of the best movies of all time. And and even the CGI looks phenomenal.
Yeah, that's the thing. The effects are, in my opinion, still better than the newest one. I just like them better.
Yeah,
it's a mix of practical and
mixture
visual,
of both practical. Yep, exactly.
They did practical for as much as they could.
Yeah.
Well, if
like
we want to get
Nolan.
into the music of these movies and games and whatnot, Robert, do you want to start us off?
Let's do it. All right. Revisiting Clair Obscure Expedition 33, Game of the Year 2025, has a 154 track, 8-hour soundtrack. And so when I was reviewing it last time, I had been listening to it. I did not know what I was listening to. When you have this many tracks, it's hard to understand where you are in a story when you don't know the story. And this is one of those tensions that we've talked about on the channel on occasion between like listening to a score for its objective beauty or enjoyability versus listening to a score having seen the movie or watched or played the game in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2025, I listened to the score without having played the game, and it stands alone. It's really enjoyable. I played the game, and wow, like the score hits so much harder on so many different levels now. And I think a big part of that is because every character and place has its own theme. Its own, I guess you would call it when it's like shorter, a leitmotif specifically, versus a full theme. And a leitmotif is something that like it's a theme that comes back regularly. So I did a little bit of research on this, and again, I don't know a lot about music, but this is the same approach. So Lorien Testard, the composer for Clair Obscure, this is the same. He took the same approach that Howard Shore took to The Lord of the Rings, which is a lot of leitmotifs, right? Like, so you have a Shire theme, and then when the hobbits have variations of that as their story goes on, and it kind of grows with them and changes. Like when Boromir is talking to Aragorn on the shores of Lothlorien, you hear the Minas Tirith theme popping up, even though we haven't even been to Minas Tirith really yet. In theory, I know a nerd would probably tell me that Gandalf was in Minas Tirith like in the first few minutes of the first film. Yes,
I think you are that nerd, Robert.
I am the nerd, telling myself and the rest of the world Minas Tirith has been there. Anyway, and so same thing with Clair Obscure. The characters have themes, and then as the story goes on for hours, the themes change and evolve in beautiful ways that, like, even if that character is not there, it brings them back subconsciously and emotionally. It's really cool, and I think it hits harder than an approach like, from what I understand, Hans Zimmer takes, which is much more about textures and tone. Like even for Batman, and you think like The Dark Knight, Batman doesn't actually have like a hummable theme that shows up anytime like a Bruce Wayne theme and a Batman theme, and they play like he's got sounds and he's got a certain thing where like, oh yeah, like I'm not gonna like, well,
he's got the piano.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's just a couple of notes for him. There's a couple themes in there, but you think of in general, like you're not walking around humming Batman's theme, right? Even though his music is there, and the Joker is one note, right? Or it's like a texture or a tone all the way through specifically. And I think Hans Zimmer kind of wanted you to just feel the characters, and the grittiness much more than a traditional. We've talked about The Lord of the Rings often being an opera. It's like you could just listen to the complete recordings all the way through, and it's like you have felt and experienced the story because the characters are there in their leitmotifs, right? Similarly with Clair Obscure, the characters are there in their leitmotifs. I think you could probably listen to this 154 track score and re-experience the story. And I have not been able to put that into words before about like why I loved the Lord of the Rings score so much. So it is really cool that Clair Obscure is sort of the next soundtrack I have found, that I'm sure there are others, but that has sort of mirrored what Shore was doing with the Lord of the Rings.
Wow, that's high praise.
It is. It's a 4.5 for me on the Soundtrack Scores app, which is pretty close to a 5. There's the only reason it didn't make it a 5 for me is I think maybe it's the way a game is structured versus a movie. The themes come back sometimes a little too much, and it feels like the game is either trying a little too hard or there's just not enough space between the themes appearing at times. Whereas the Lord of the Rings has space to breathe between the different themes. So I haven't dived into why that is. Maybe the Lord of the Rings has less of them, more of them. But at any rate, it's not perfect, but it's incredible. So let's listen to one of the characters' themes. We're going to listen to Gustav's theme, which is my favorite. He's one of the main characters in the game. We're going to go with his full theme first for about a minute or so, and then a couple of variations of it so that we all get a sense of what I mean when I say, okay, so you have a theme, and then as the story progresses and the character grows and changes, their theme does with them.
Okay.
So without further ado, we are going to listen to Gustav, which is track 2 on the Expedition 33 soundtrack.
Those cellos?
Oh yeah, and what you just heard is sort of the lynch point of his theme and the one that's going to come back over and over again.
Wow, that was beautiful.
We giving it a stop in now?
We'll stop in a minute and a half. All right, good place to stop.
It's very classical sounding.
It is.
Yeah.
And yes, cellos. I'm a huge sucker for cellos. That's partly why I love this theme. It's also super hummable. So I wake up and I'm humming it. But yeah, that is your reference point. That's the full Gustav theme.
All right.
So story goes on, things happen. Let's listen to the next rendition, at least on the soundtrack, called Lost Voice. It's track 68.
Okay.
All right.
And we're starting at a minute.
And we're going to start at 1 minute in. We can stop there or else we'll listen to the whole thing.
All right. Cool. We got vocals now.
So yeah, you're layering in different sounds. It's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. A little more, how would you describe the feeling of that one?
Not melancholic, but a little bit more somber, I guess.
More like the notes were a lot higher. Was that even a cello in there? Was that more like a violin?
It started with a violin and then the cello came in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely overall just felt like, I don't know, not as low as the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying not to say too much because I don't want to give away the story. Because like Gustav's story is incredible.
I could probably intuit some of it based on how that felt, but you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's which I love when soundtracks, you can feel the story through the music,
Absolutely. And something cool that the game does, which of course the Lord of the Rings didn't have to do, is so the game goes between a couple of different modes as you're playing, and there are cutscenes for the story. There are areas that you're exploring, and then there's the world map, which sort of zooms out and you play like third person as little people, and you walk around to the next area. It's really cool, really really cool game design. For good reason, it got Game of the Year along with the story. So this next track is called World Map, Gustav's Legacy. So something really cool that Lorien Testard did was, instead of being like, okay, we're just going to do atmospheric music like some other games will do while you're walking around because it needs to be on repeat, and you could literally like sit and hear in the world map for as long as you want if you don't enter an area. He puts themes into the walking music essentially at certain parts of the story to keep you embedded in the story and in the characters while you're doing the kind of routine exploring part of the game. It's really cool. So let's see what he does with that. So the next track will be World Map, Gustav's Legacy. One more note, if you do listen to the full soundtrack, all 8 hours, which I highly recommend, you can kind of get a sense of where you are by looking at the soundtrack titles. Obviously, if it says World Map, you're in the world map. There are area titles first, so it'll have like it's Falling Water is one of them. Something, shoot, I'm forgetting, but it'll have like area titles, and so that's when you're in the area exploring and fighting and stuff. And then the cutscenes, just like the one we just listened to, it'll just be like a title like Lost Voice with no area or something in front of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let's give this one 30 seconds or so. This is World Map, Gustav's Legacy. It's track 92.
Well, I'm guessing he's got kind of a tragic story. You don't confirm or deny.
I won't tell you what it is. I will tell you though. I mean, I think it's important, and I'm not spoiling anything. In general, there are multiple characters in the game, and the game is really about death and grief. And I think that that's important because the Lord of the Rings, Tolkien also said, is about death.
Yeah,
mainly. Right? That is what it's about. That is what gives it its weight, its gravitas, and its power, staying power as a story. And because we are mortal humans for now, until AI saves us all. I am joking. Like death is the thing that we all experience. And we get parts of it in suffering and in the death of loved ones. And there's kind of nothing more poignant or important in a story.
Very true.
So it's pretty cool that I think Testard, in a story that has a similar theme to The Lord of the Rings, took a similar approach in his music, in his composition.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Beautiful.
Seems like there's a lot of layers to this game and music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth playing. The art direction is phenomenal as well. Just like every time you go into a new area, you're like, how did a human being think of all of this? Just gorgeously rendered.
All right, moving on to something that's very different. This is The Devil Wears Prada 2, of course. Saw the movie, as I mentioned, and the composer is Theodore Shapiro, who did the first one. And actually, as I was watching the movie with my wife, she mentioned they used some of the same themes from the first one. She's seen the first one more than I have. And even the needle drop moments, there was a couple of them. One song in particular that's featured in a montage in the first one, that's also featured in a montage in this one, but though it's like a different type of montage, if that makes sense. But Theodore Shapiro has done a number of soundtracks I like, including Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Great
The
one.
score of that one, which also
Great
had
movie.
yeah, great movie, but also had a whole soundtrack of just the needle drops, the songs featured in it. So this has the same thing. Lady Gaga is actually in the movie, so she has a few songs that were like on the soundtrack. But this is the score, and we're gonna listen to a track called "Forever My Girl." I believe this is the last song on the soundtrack. Kind of just gives you a feel for the themes. We'll listen just probably about the first minute of it. Stop it there. So yeah, not the craziest theme, not the most complex. I would say I don't want to say it's not complex, but I feel like it's very Theodore Shapiro. His tracks are very kind of upbeat. That kind of it's like a modern upbeat sound with a lot of his soundtracks, which are fun when you're working to listen to something like that in the background.
Oh yeah, it started a little almost nostalgic or melancholic for a previous time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought with the electric guitar at the beginning there.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got into like, okay, now we're in the present and there's some hijinks maybe happening.
Yeah, and the movie actually explores how the digital, move to digital kind of affects a magazine. So they're dealing with that. So, but it's still obviously a nostalgic franchise because it's the second one after 20 years.
Funny, it's similar to Walter Mitty.
Actually,
is that what happens in Walter Mitty? You're right.
Have you seen it, Robert?
Yeah. I have. It's been last time I saw it, we were all in St. Augustine still.
Oh my God.
Wait, no, you gotta watch it again.
Yeah, you watch
your
it again.
house.
But that's very Michael. That's actually
a
really good catch. I didn't even think of that. But that is the same. Yeah, that's the same conflict in Walter Mitty.
Shapiro has a type.
He does, and he also did the intern with Anne Hathaway as well.
Okay,
and yeah, that one is an older. It's Robert De Niro going back to intern because he's bored, essentially. But kind of the old versus the new. He has a type. But yeah, if you enjoyed the first Devil Wears Prada, you'll probably enjoy the second one. So I'd check out the movie and give the soundtrack a listen, especially if you like Theodore Shapiro. All right, Michael, moving on to yet another very different soundtrack. I know you're bringing us one from a galaxy far, far away.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for us today?
Mandalorian and Grogu. What I really love about, it's Ludwig Göransson, just like the show, and I feel like he leaned into the same themes, but like with they feel bigger in some cases. Like he kind of did more with him, explored different like ways of like instruments with the same themes. And there's two tracks I want to there. Well, let's just start with this track, and then I'll preface the next one. But the first track I want to listen to, just about a minute of it, 30 seconds to a minute, is the second track in the album called The Mandalorian and Grogu.
All right.
So we both are familiar with the iconic theme. Just keep that in mind.
More
interesting.
Yeah.
It's got an echo too.
Mm-hmm. Is that a French horn?
Both of them together. Getting electronic.
Hey.
Ooh, yeah.
I like that.
That undertone, yeah. Such a great theme.
It is a really good one.
Okay, let's stop it there.
Yeah.
I love that he just like, this is this, if it ain't broke, and just lean even more into that. I feel like, and that's something I feel like I really, with some sequel or soundtracks, I'm just like, you've got some great themes, lean into them more, and like, yeah, you can do something new, but like,
but I feel like he upgraded it. He didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was really good. I like that.
Well, upgraded's a strong term. I mean, he changed it. I enjoy the original quite a lot without the electronic sound.
I guess what I meant was he didn't. Sometimes when they try to change a theme, it makes it sound worse. I feel like this made it sound bigger, but not like too different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's what.
Yeah, it was the same but different. Yes, like it's like this is the Mandalorian, but it's the Mandalorian and Grogu, which
I will say
distinctive enough.
I think I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if this is the case, but it would be very weird to go to a Star Wars movie and they don't have the Star Wars theme as the opening crawl. I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the TV show doesn't open with the crawl, does it?
No, but this is the first Star Wars movie in theaters since the sequels.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Shows
this will be the 10th Star Wars movie.
I gave up on Star Wars.
No.
Wait, is it really? Like even
there's Rogue One.
Well, when was Rogue One in Solo?
Yeah, you had Rogue One and Solo.
Yeah. I forgot about those, but Rogue One was 2016, I thought.
I feel like I don't remember when the last of the sequels came out.
It would have been Rise of Skywalker, which was 2019. Yeah, so this is
2019.
That was the last
first one since COVID, at least.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, that was a good theme. What's the next one you have?
That was fun. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah. The second track I'm going to do is, so this one I was not going to lie, feels very different. And to be honest, from like an overall listening experience, it was a little jarring because of how different it felt. And that's just purely speaking from isolated from haven't seen the movie or anything like that. Just as an album listening experience, it was a little bit like, whoa, feels very different. So let's give it a listen. This is track 7, Rata.
Oh. Like a soccer theme. World Cup.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine what kind of scene this could be.
I think I know, based on what I've heard about the movie. Whoa. That's got like 80s.
Yeah.
Almost.
All right, we can stop it there.
All right. That's wild.
Yeah,
I do know
very different.
Rada is Jabba the Hutt's son. I think he
might be a club.
Well, I think he might be involved in gladiator fights of some kind.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm wondering if that's has to do with that.
Which that makes sense in context.
Yeah.
Again, speaking to the difference of listening to a soundtrack in isolation without having seen the film or show or whatever, and then having context.
Yeah.
And also just speaking to a album listening experience in isolation as well, regardless of whether or not you've seen the thing.
That's actually interesting. Yeah. Go on, Robert.
Oh, I was just gonna say what immediately came to mind is the famous cantina music on Tatooine.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously it's very different, but the fact that it's so different reminds, like, the cantina obviously is like very different from the rest of the Star Wars soundtrack. So funny that if it's Prada, it's probably on Tatooine also, I would imagine.
Yeah, the huts. Makes sense.
What were you gonna say, Stephen?
I was going to pivot a little bit. It's interesting you brought that up, Michael, the whole listening experience outside versus, after you've seen it, because my wild card today is Subnautica 2. I loved the first game. I recently bought the second game, but the first soundtrack I actually listened to before I ever played the game, and I would listen to it at work. It was, I don't know, I really liked it for some reason. And then obviously Subnautica 2, I played the game, and then I listened to some of the soundtrack. So it's a very different experience, but the track I'm going to play today has a very specific action that happens, and I'll explain after we give it a listen.
I'm curious.
But the track is called Titan Class Biosignatures, and we're going to listen from 40 seconds to about a minute 30 or so.
Okay.
And so we'll play it and then I'll explain.
Love the vibe.
If I'm playing, I'm already terrified. There's totally a jump scare enemy coming around the corner.
I love these textures.
Keep going a little bit longer. Go to like 2:15 if that's all right.
I told you there was an enemy coming.
You can stop it there. Yeah. So
now we're fighting.
The first time I heard that in the game, I was testing the boundaries because it's early access right now, and so you reach a point in the map. I haven't beaten the game yet, but like you reach a point in the map where there's this kind of like red laser field, is what it looks like. That's kind of weird. And you go past it, it says the developers are not finished yet. This is like an undeveloped section. And all of a sudden, I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going. So I keep going, and there's the void, and all of a sudden I start hear that music start to play, and I'm in a little submersible, and then all of a sudden I just see teeth come into my screen like behind me, and then I'm dead. So,
oh my gosh, that's gonna be terrifying.
Yeah, so it's a good track, and I immediately heard that track. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what that part is.
Very reminiscent of Alien Isolation when you get caught by the alien.
Yeah.
And you just have to deal with the mouth coming out.
You're like, well, here we go.
Well, I'm done. I pushed my limits. I made too much noise.
You just gotta like just it gives you while it's happening, you're just watching it like, well, crap, now you gotta like come to terms with what just happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over the next 5
Go back to
minutes
your
of
checkpoint.
teeth coming
Yeah.
down. Yes.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Thanks for sharing that, Stephen. The textures
Yeah.
are really impressive. You sound
Mhm.
like you're underwater. Like even if I
Yeah.
didn't know, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm underwater. Things are
Mhm.
echoing.
Yeah,
It's probably
and it's a
pretty dark.
Yeah, it's when it gets nighttime, it does. It gets pretty dark. But yeah, the different composer from the first one. This guy actually composed the spin-off Subnautica Below Zero, which was not as well received as a game. But yeah, I do think he did a good job incorporating elements of the first soundtrack into this one overall. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Subnautica 2.
Nice.
So-
I've got family who's very excited about this game, so that's cool.
It's a good one
Before
if
we
you like the
wrap
first
up-
one. Yeah.
Sorry, before we wrap up, I do want to real quick touch on something a little different.
Yeah.
And so I saw this about the Odyssey, and I saw this video on YouTube. This guy was theorizing about how Nolan's going to approach it, and his theory was really interesting. His theory is because the Odyssey, a lot of it is told through Odysseus telling about his adventure, his journey. His theory was that this film is going to be about memory, and I could see that, knowing Nolan and his style, I could see that going a couple of ways. He could play with the subjectivity of memory, and where some of these like quote unquote larger than life things are Odysseus's retelling of this. I personally hope that he doesn't do that, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for like, no, it's actually, the world is big like that. There are, all these crazy creatures and stuff like that. So anyways, I thought that was really interesting. I just thought I'd mention that. I
Yeah.
just saw that recently.
There's an interest. I have something to add on to that, because I've heard rumors, and I don't love this idea, but there's because Travis Scott is playing a character. I'm not sure who he's playing, but there's rumors that Nolan said kind of like bards or like storytelling is similar to rap, and that he's going to be some sort of bard or something that like tells it through rap. I can't imagine he
That
would have
raps
that in
to
the
Odysseus?
Odyssey. I don't know, and that would be part of the storytelling. But I also saw something else where it's Ludwig Göransson composing the music, the score, and that he's not using any orchestra at all.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I heard that as well.
Yeah,
That makes me excited, because I know how resourceful Ludwig Göransson is with unique sounds, like with Black Panther and with Mandalorian, Creed. He just finds ways to and just finds instruments that are not mainstream, and finds performers of those instruments who are experts of them. I trust him with that.
Yeah, I do too. And the fact that I think he doesn't want instruments basically he wants only instruments that would have existed then. That probably leads me to believe he's not going to go fully electronic with any of the elements, if with Travis Scott, given his style. But we shall see, I guess.
I'm still
What are
worried.
your thoughts? You're worried.
I'm still worried on multiple levels. As somebody who has taught the Odyssey as a teacher, is writing his own version of this, loves the story, multiple things to touch on. One, the only Nolan film I really don't like is Dunkirk. And the reason being because I think Nolan was in a stage, and I love Christopher Nolan. I think he's brilliant. But he goes through stages, and good for him, he can, where he experiments with different parts of the craft, because the craft evolves and he wants to evolve his craft. And so I think with Dunkirk, if I remember correctly, he was really trying to make a film that was like pure film, where there wasn't much dialogue. He tried to do it with like no dialogue, couldn't do it with no dialogue. So this is giving me vibes of there was no orchestra in 3200 BC, therefore my film should not have an orchestra. And I'm worried it's going to be as rough as Dunkirk was in that sense. Like, I trust Ludwig Göransson. I'm sure he's going to do the best with the constraints he has. Constraints do bring about a lot of creativity, but I'm worried. We'll see.
I get where you're coming from. Although I will say, playing off Michael's point, Ludwig Göransson has experimented with some random instruments that
He
are
has.
very unconventional. And so if there was a composer that's going to do that and pull it off, I could see that being Lord
Yeah,
Göransson.
I agree.
That's the thing. That's the reason why I'm not worried at all, because it's Ludwig Göransson. Like, even if it was Hans Zimmer, I'd be like, I mean, he's good. He can pull it off, but I'd still be a little worried because I haven't heard him do something like, that outside. But Ludwig Göransson has proven himself with that kind of thing, you know?
Because Nolan did give him a lot of constraints on Oppenheimer. There's no drums, there's no percussion, and he was able to do it with strings, the beats. But so we'll see.
I'm sure it'll be decent. You know, Daniel Pemberton also used a bowl of water in Project Hail Mary, so like
he wanted to do it just on a wood block,
and he just wanted to do it on a wood block, and you know, I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm sure it'll be fine. But also, with your point earlier, Michael, I'm a little worried. Like, it'll be cool if Nolan takes a different spin on it. If it's about memory and he does something with Odysseus telling the story, and you know, the fishtail getting bigger and bigger as he tells it or something. But the Greeks, if he wants to be accurate, especially as he's doing with his soundtrack, the Greeks would have seen like the Cyclops as a real being in their world, right? And the gods as real. And so it's sort of like, I'm hoping that's not where he's going, because if he's going to be so authentic with the soundtrack, like, try to be authentic to the people of that time who wrote the story.
Yeah, we shall see.
Anyhow, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I will. I mean, between the three of us, I think, or between both of you guys, if you guys both love it, I'll probably give it a shot. I feel like I've been disappointed by Nolan a couple times.
Did you not like Oppenheimer?
I liked Oppenheimer, all right, but I wouldn't rewatch it. I hated Tenet, and I did not like Dunkirk.
So the last one you enjoyed was Interstellar.
Yeah, I mean, I did like. I think Oppenheimer was a good movie, but as far as rewatchability for me, that would be Interstellar was the last one, I'd say.
Well, let's hope he doesn't go the way of Shyamalan.
No, he's had more hits than Shyamalan. God, no.
There we go.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Let us know in the comments what your predictions are for the Odyssey soundtrack. Let us know any other soundtracks you've been listening to lately. And it doesn't have to be a new one that you've just listened to. If there's any that we're missing from the past that we should check out, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your opinion. And if you want to check out something cool, search up soundtrackscores.com. You might find something you like there. Yeah, so if you've made it this far, props to you. You'll get to check that out. All right. Well, until next time, guys, I'll see you later.
Cheers.